Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. I'm Marivox and today's video is going to be a little bit different than some of my other videos that I have uploaded in the past. So I have been gone for a little while. I believe my last video was uploaded 8 months ago in late November, and that wasn't a break that I had been intending to take. So I want to explain kind of what's going on, and while I'll explain, you guys are going to be watching footage of me kind of finishing up some of these random houses I have in another build going on. This is a build that I've been putting together off camera. I want to do another big tour like I did at Grey Garden and Oberlin and my other settlements that I've had big tours of, but I didn't want to make this a whole build series because of how long and drawn out it was going to be. And I wanted to kind of do something off camera so that I had something to show you guys when I come back. But anyway, so you're going to be watching me kind of put together these, or put the finishing touches on these houses and these buildings or whatever, while I kind of explain what this absence was about. So my last video was uploaded in late November. It was the start of a new build series, and I had fully intended to continue that series more regularly. But in December into January, we started to experience some really frustrating internet problems. Like, it started as just kind of a slowdown to the point where it was, we had to disconnect a bunch of things that were connected. A bunch of our devices and everything that always are connected, we had to disconnect them to kind of open up some space. But then our internet started to drop randomly, and it would drop for about a minute and then come back on, but it was enough that it would fully disrupt our connection, like it would fully disconnect from our internet. So it started to get bad in January and just kind of built and built and built to the point where it would sometimes drop 10 times in an hour, sometimes back to back. So it made our connection super unreliable, and it was really random. Like, we could never tell when it was going to start. It would just go out. So it made it so that I couldn't trust the connection to record or to upload videos. I can do the editing without an internet connection, but because I record from an Xbox, which I know is a little unconventional for a YouTuber. I think most YouTubers record their videos from like OBS on their computer. I have had some terrible times with OBS, and I don't have a big computer setup because this is a hobby. So I record from my Xbox, and because Xbox is the way it is, you have to have a stable internet connection to record. So I was worried that I'd be in the middle of recording something and my internet would cut out, and it would cut out my recording, and I'd have to start everything over. So it would have made that process less fun than it is. And then I was also worried about, with the upload side of things, my internet getting disrupted and then the upload getting disrupted, and I'd have to start that process over. So it would have made that process more of a headache than it already is. So because of the internet situation, I didn't feel comfortable or I didn't trust, that I could get that done. So I wanted to wait, and it took so long because my husband and I were trying to figure out a way to fix it on our own first, so that when we did eventually get in contact with the cable company, that we'd have all this, we'd try to do our own fixes first. But we replaced our modem 3 times, we replaced our router twice, and everything we did didn't seem to help, even if it was updating the modem to like the most recent, technological version of the modem that we had, so it could handle all those really good speeds or whatever. But we came to realize a couple months ago that there was no way we could fix it with just what we were doing, and that the connection was simply just getting worse and less reliable. So we started to try to call the cable company, and the cable company is seeing that, oh no, you have internet connected to your modem, but they weren't really paying attention to, like, on the phone anyway, they weren't paying attention to the fact that it would drop randomly. And so I ended up going over to the actual like brick and mortar store and talking to a human being and saying, hey, this is what's going on. I had a video of it happening to explain, so we could get someone out and actually fix our stuff. And they did come this week, and we got it fixed. And so that's why I'm here now, recording this video and kind of explaining this whole thing. So that was kind of the main reason there haven't been videos, but there have been some other things in my life that have occurred that will have an impact, or have had an impact on the channel as a whole. So first, last fall, I put up a community post just kind of explaining that there were some things going on in my life that were affecting my mental health, and I needed to take some time off, and y'all were great. You were really understanding about that, but I think I took about 2 months off for that, and then came back with that one video, and then had this whole internet debacle occur. Late September, my cat died, and it was sudden. She was young, and so it hit me really, really hard. She was only 5 years old, and she had a condition that we didn't really know about. We knew that she wasn't super healthy. She was always super underweight, no matter how much I'd feed her. She just never seemed to gain weight. But she was always really sweet, and you know how cats are. I mean, any cat owner out there knows that, when they're sick, they don't really let you know. They just kind of try to behave as normally as possible for as long as possible. So, she also had a penchant for eating fabric, and I was always worried that she was going to eat something and it would get stuck in her digestive tract, and we'd have to, take her in for surgery to get it out. But that's pretty much what happened in late September, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but we did discover after she passed that she had a condition that made her it made her have a bad reaction to any kind of sedation or pain meds. And I knew that she had one, but any time I mentioned it to the vet, they're all like, well, that doesn't sound right. That shouldn't happen. But I'm like, well, she, never responds well to pain medication or sedation. She always takes longer to recover. And I always thought that was weird. And after she died, we had an autopsy, and it kind of explained what was going on. She had a condition, and they didn't say if it was genetic or if it was caused by something that she had contracted as a kitten, and it just developed that way. But it made her cells kind of behave cancerous, and they weren't actual cancer. She didn't have cancer. It was just the cells and the way they grew didn't make sense. They grew up around her organs and kind of like squeezed the life out of them, and that's why she was always so sickly. And basically they said that her long-term prognosis wouldn't have been good anyway. But when we adopted her, we also adopted her brother, and so we had this other cat that I was also worried about at that time. I wasn't as worried about him having that condition that she had, because he's always been healthy. He's never had an issue with sedation, although he doesn't really need to be sedated all that often. He's always been a healthy weight. He's very active. Climbs curtains when I really wish he wouldn't, but he's a cat. So I haven't been as worried about him on the health side of things, but I was worried about him being depressed. So, I gave him all the loving I could while I was still grieving. But after a couple of months, my husband and I started looking into adopting a kitten for companionship for our cat, who had never been in a house without another cat before. And we ended up finding a Maine Coon kitten, and we brought her home. We brought her home in late December, and I spent a good portion of January just trying to get her acclimated and to fit into our house really well, as seamlessly as possible. And anybody that has pets already and brings a new animal into the house knows that takes some work. So I did focus a lot of time on making sure that she would kind of seamlessly integrate into our family. We have 2 dogs, and of course we already had a cat. And now it's like she's was always a part of our family. She plays with our dog and our cat, and no issues with her kind of being included. So I'm really happy I spent that time in January really, really working to make sure that would be the case. So there is one more thing that has had an impact this spring and will have a lasting impact on the channel for the future. Not long after we brought home that kitten, I found out that I'm pregnant. So that means that obviously my spring was impacted because, going through that first trimester, I was really tired all the time. I never got sick, which is great, but I did have nausea, so I just didn't feel great for several months. So that impacted just me as my energy levels and all that kind of stuff. I didn't feel like creating. I didn't even feel like reading. I went to work and I came home and I took naps. Like, that's basically what I was like for 3 months. So that kind of cleared away late March and into April. And then of course that's when our internet got worse. So when I finally had energy to record, the internet was in a place where I couldn't do it. So that was a big impact just this last spring, but I am still pregnant, obviously. And this is my first child. So I know I'm going to have to take some time off to kind of figure out a routine, get that established for a newborn, and obviously I have to take time off to welcome the baby in the first place. So with that coming up, that's going to impact the channel because I will not be recording videos during that time. That's going to be mid to late August into September. I don't know when, obviously, but I will take a month off around that time, and I'll put a community post up letting you guys know when that has occurred. But the pregnancy won't just impact the channel because of this, because I am a first-time mom and all of that. I had decided to quit my job, so I no longer have a day job. I have more time during the day to kind of focus on, preparing for, a baby coming into my house and the other things that I like to do, like reading and making art and playing video games and making these YouTube videos. So I will have more time coming up, like soon, to put to those things, those passions that I have. And that'll circle back to next week. I hope to have the next episode of the Nordhagen Beach Build Series out. So be looking for that. Something else I wanted to mention was at the end of the first Nordhagen Beach episode, I mentioned that I had reached 1,000 subscribers last fall, but I didn't really get to say how excited that made me and how appreciative I am. I just want to let you guys know that that is a big deal. I didn't want to gloss over it. I was just still kind of in a weird mental place, but I'm really excited that you guys have been enjoying my content, and something, that every creator wants is that their work is appreciated. And I'm so glad that you guys have been appreciating it and have been enjoying the content, and I hope that you continue to do so. So if you are excited for the next episode of the Nordhagen Beach build series and want to keep up with any of my new uploads that are going to come out between now and whenever the baby comes, just hit that subscribe button. And I also had a question that I could do more videos kind of similar to this in the future, where I just kind of do a little bit of building or furnishing or whatever, but do Q&A. So if you guys had any questions for me or are interested in something like that, just let me know. I can post a community post if I get enough comments asking for one. I can post a community post and say, hey, post your questions here. But just let me know. But I hope you guys, again, are looking forward to the continuation of the Nordhagen Beach build series. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.